I guess, taking or belittling the gameplay for children, because when we play tested, and this is something actually that all the guys that we work with said, don't dumb it down too much, because you kind of take for granted, or you kind of think
smart kids are.
Exactly, and we often found that in a lot of cases, the kids would often outperform the parents in those play tests. So yeah, don't dumb it down for the kids, because they can handle a lot more than you realize.
So going back to the original question, then, Mikey, for you, then philosophical differences between the actual design of the play sets. Can we talk a little bit about that process for Rise Against the Empire?
So, I've been at Avalanche for like 15, 16 years now, and one of the games that we were really proud of was Toy Story 3. And one of the areas that I worked on was Western Town with John, and we did a lot of design on that. And
which was the original Toy Box
Which was
mode.
the original. That's what kind of sparked the Toy Box part of Infinity. And so we wanted to go back to that and create a play set that sort of mimicked a lot of those gameplay patterns, which was sort of kids' creation, play your way. And so we take the player through the main story arc, but we deliver a lot of what Toy Box does. So we have customization, like you build your Hoth base before you go out to the AT-AT battle. And we want the player to kind of jump around, like they can go through the main story arc, but what we want them to do is kind of play the play set how they want to play it. And so it's not like we're sending them through a linear A to B path. And so after you get into space from Tatooine and over into Hoth, you can go back to Tatooine and do, finish up some of your missions there, or head out back into space and over to Endor and areas like that. And so that was kind of the play pattern that we wanted to do, and it turned out really well. I think we actually had in our play tests, the kids would actually they kind of play like they do in the Toy Box, where they get a little bit lost, and it's hard to get them to go back into the main story arc and continue the play set, but that's good. I think kids play it how they want to play it. I think it plays really well in multiplayer, and so we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I think what's fun is that people are really in for a treat when they play these different experiences on the Infinity platform, right? Because Twilight feels and is about, from a mechanics perspective and presentation perspective, different than what's happening in Rise Against the Empire. And so every one of these new play sets, and Inside Out, of course, if you guys have seen, is more of a puzzle platformer. So it's all these different experiences, and obviously a kart racer are something I think that makes Infinity very unique from a platform perspective, because you have these different mechanics. Now, we've got our Toy Box artists here in the crowd and fans of the Toy Box that are watching from home. So maybe you guys talk a little bit about some of the coolest unlocks in your play set that will translate into the Toy Box, ones that you're most proud of.
Yeah, so since we were sort of creating more of a Toy Box style gameplay, we have a lot of toys, and so I think we have probably over 50 toys that go into the Toy Box that you'll be able to play with and make your own experiences. So you can build your Endor environment, you can build your Hoth environment, you can build your Tatooine environment. We've got all of the vehicles and toys from each of those locations too. So your land speeders, your speeder bikes, your snow speeders, the AT-ST, the AT-8, well, not the AT-AT.
X-Wings.
The X-Wings, Millennium Falcons, the mounts, so you've got your Tauntauns, the Banthas, and so, we wanted to make sure that we really supported the Toy Box with a lot of toys, and I think they're going to have a blast with what we've delivered there. So.
Stan, how about you?
Jar Jar Binks, obviously.
That's right. That is kind of a mic dropper there. Yeah. Any other virtual toys that you're proud of that people can unlock?
There's a couple of things we did. We actually got Darth Maul and General Grievous as bosses that you can bring into the Toy Box. So you can set your own stage and then battle them with any character you want, which I think is super fun, super cool. And also throughout our playset, you're recruiting younglings, into the Jedi Temple. Those become sidekicks that you can use in the sidekick mode.
I'm glad that you clarified that, because I received a tweet this morning from someone who's like, I see General Grievous in the Toy Box. Would you just announce this character? And I'm like, it's not exactly like that. That's really cool too, as people then go and build their levels, right, inside of the Toy Box. So there's so many ways now you can put a boss at the end of it. You can use the new spline tool, and a lot of you guys are actually going to see when the Toy Box team comes up here to talk about all the new features, ways that you can really creatively express yourself that you never have before. Brian, anything in particular that sticks out in your mind?
Absolutely, Marshmallow from Frozen. You'll be able
Yeah.
to place that. And King Candy in his transformed, menacing monster form. There's a ton of stuff that we bring over, but those two, those are two of my favorites.
Sean?
I think it's the huge variety of assets and stuff that you can make your own tracks with now. You know, now there's more than 100 vehicles that you can race with. The kids aren't, well, not kids, no one is going to be impeded by not having the stuff anymore. There's just
A lot of people have been asking, you know, these are great racetracks inside a speedway. Can I use some of these elements to create my own racetracks?
It's all created with Toy Box stuff, so yeah, absolutely you can.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, we know, you know, people have created wonderful races. You know, what we've done is refine some of the mechanics, bringing in more toys, so there'll be assets and improvements and polish that you'll be able to put into your own tracks.
It's a completely different experience now.
Yeah,
Very cool.
way better.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
John, before we...
What?
Is it not time for another giveaway?
Hold on.
It's actually question time.
It's question time, you smart butt. And we have Tyler here.
You first, okay. I do. Oh, okay.
Yes,
clap.
Tyler,
Thank you.
let's see your hands.
All right, I have quite a few questions from the chat. First one is from Elm Seeker. It's specifically for Ninja Theory. Elm Seeker wants to know what kinds of things have you done to improve combat in 3.0?
Okay, yeah, so
Succinct.
I could go on for ages about this. It's really nerdy and boring. But no, like we've improved things like response time for the combat, so that when you press the button, it's really swift and immediate. The combos flow together really well. There's lots of variety there. All of the different characters have their own fighting styles and their own individual force powers. We've just really brought all the experience that we've had from the other games we've worked on and plowed it into what we have here.
Give the thing that I think is really impressive, give the one-sentence description of how everything that you've done now translates to the old stuff.
Sure. So the idea is that you can use the advanced combat stuff that you see in our playset with any held melee weapon that you can use in the toy box. So frying pans, the flamingo mallet, Carl's cane, all of those things use the combat system that we
Yeah, so it's crazy to see, you know, basically doing air juggles now with Carl's cane and
Yeah.
stuff like that. All right, next question.
Awesome. The next one comes from Bruce Banner's Bad Manners. He wants to know, has there been a multiplayer fighting game component that's been considered for the toy box?
That we have definitely considered that. We'll leave it there.
All right, and the next one comes from Joshua 0813. He wants to know, he would like to hear more about the lightsaber battling. Was it difficult to get right?
It's not really. I mean, you have such a broad array of kind of styles that these characters use. It's about just what's right for the character, and that involved a lot of back and forth between the guys at Lucas, making sure that the fighting styles were right for each of the characters. So, for example, Anakin's fighting style is really aggressive, which suits the kind of latent dark side within him, whereas Obi-Wan's is a lot more considered and technical, and Yoda's crazy, flipping out all over the place and kind of whirling all over the place. And Ahsoka uses twin lightsabers to hit loads of enemies around her. So it's kind of just making sure that that the style is right for the character.
Cool.
Just from my perspective, I think that when these guys first brought their demo and integrated the force powers into the combo system, it gives a lot more expressiveness to combat just in general.
Yeah.
And it was fun out of the gate. It was great.
when you're knocking someone away and then, you know, as Anakin especially pulling someone towards you and then knocking them away and then doing it again, it's just that kind of punching bag mechanic makes you feel so powerful as you're playing as
And I think that the approach we like to take is that if the player feels like they should be able to do it, we let them do it. So you're right, it allows them to what we call express themselves with the combat.
And then, JV, I know you were there too, but when we first showed that to Lucas too, I think there was that moment of hesitation of like, you know, it's so aerial, it's so frenetic and stuff. And when they first looked at it, they were like, wow, this is actually really cool. This might be what consoles need for
Yeah, I mean,
lightsaber combat.
absolutely. I
So-
remember Matt Philibrand, if he's still here, he was like, we've been trying to work with the Ninja Theory guys before. And these would be great guys to help work on lightsaber combat. And I think that, again, going all the way back to